Hey everybody, I'm Amber from Celebrate Your Path, and I am coming at you today with a little exercise to share with you. And I just did this exercise today. I kind of made it up as I went along, and I think sometimes that's one of the best ways to do things, is just to let your intuition guide you through it. And so this exercise is all about exploring your gifts. And by gifts, I really mean all of the qualities and all of the things that you're really good at, all of the things that come naturally in all areas of life. And so when I kind of started this, and I did it as a mind map, that helps me to I love mind mapping because it helps me to just kind of get everything down on paper without trying to organize it, because I find that when I'm just kind of processing and thinking and reflecting, that when I try and organize it or like put it down in an organized way, it stops me from seeing some really important connections. And I feel like mind mapping helps me to do that. So I did it in kind of a mind map form. I'm going to show you mine in just a second. But what I was looking at, kind of how I laid it out, or how I started to kind of categorize or kind of get everything flowing, was, so I'll show you right now. So I'll show you, this is my mind map of my gifts. I can't really see around it. And so I started in the center. I just wrote my gifts. And then I started thinking about all the areas of life that one can have gifts within. And there are many. And so I started just putting in, kind of writing out the physical gifts, so like talents or things you do with your body, things you do physically, tangibly. So talents, body, physical gifts. And then I did one for mind, intellectual, mental gifts. I did one for personality, heart, emotional, feelings gifts, and one for soul and spiritual gifts. And so, and I'll show you like kind of how I did those. So I just wrote them. You can see the boxes: soul and spiritual gifts, personality, heart, emotional, feelings gifts. Which way? So you get the picture. So I kind of put those in boxes. And that's how I started, was just to kind of lay them out like that. And as I started to kind of reflect and think about what gifts I feel like I have, I was noticing that a lot of them didn't fit into those categories, that they needed their own category. So I added in a category of life experience gifts. And that turned out to be one of the crucial things for me. So I would definitely recommend that as a category too. So you've got 5 categories, and perhaps there's more, but I think most things can kind of fall into those 5 main categories. So there's the talents, body, physical gifts. There's life experience gifts. There's mind, intellectual, mental gifts. There's personality, heart, emotional, feelings gifts. And there's soul and spiritual gifts. So I laid those out kind of around that my gifts thing in the center. And I started I just sat there and went quiet for a little bit, and I just sat in my thoughts and not looking at the paper or anything. And I started just kind of listing out what I feel are my gifts. And I would write them next to, whichever category it was most, fitting for. So like one of my gifts is a gift of curiosity. And I'm always looking to try something, try or learn or understand or whatever. So curiosity is kind of the way that I sum that up. And so I listed that under mind, intellectual, mental gifts. And I'll show you kind of how I did that. So down here I've got the mental, intellectual gifts here. And then I just listed out qualities around that fit within that characteristic or that group. I didn't do this all in okay, I'm listing out all my talents and body and physical gifts right now, and then I'm listing out all my life experience gifts. I just did it as everything came up, or as things came up, and then I found the right category to put them into. There were some things that I thought of that fit into more than one category, and so I kind of decided the placement for those, if I could kind of put it in between some things and then branch to both of them, or however it best worked. But you saw I had I had one that like kind of crossed through like everything, so you can see this line just goes straight down through everything. So that's okay. This doesn't have to be beautiful. It's just for you to kind of collect and group and organize your thoughts and all of that. And so I started doing that, and I thought through, you know, what are my talents? I'm talented with writing, wordsmithing. I'm talented with teaching and training, and I went into my life experience gifts. My life experience gifts, I actually listed the things that I have gone through in my lifetime that I now see as gifts. I might not have at the time, most definitely didn't with a lot of them at the time, but now I do, and I see how going through those experiences has changed me, or how I've healed from it, and what that's done for me, and all of that. So there's death is listed in there, grief, bereavement, heartbreak, depression, anxiety, all of those are listed in there. But the good stuff is listed in there too. Motherhood is listed as a life experience gift, because I feel like that's been a huge gift for me. So I listed all of that, and I just went through, and I didn't force anything. I didn't try to come up with, more for a certain category. I just let things come as they needed to. And I actually kind of questioned everything that popped into my head. So, like, if, for example, creativity popped into my head. And as I laid that out, I questioned, okay, so do I really feel that I'm creative? And do I really feel that this is a gift? This is just an example. And do I really feel that this is the best word to represent what I'm trying to explain, or what I'm trying to put down under, as one of my gifts? And I was very selective about what I put on here and the word that I used for it. And sometimes there were multiple words for kind of the same thing, and I listed them all. So for example, with writing, I listed writing, wordsmith, and storyteller. And that's all the same thing, but the words they all felt right. So I listed them all. So anyway, I went through and did this, and I just sat there. I was actually outside, just sitting out in the sun, and I went through and I just listed everything that I could think of that were my gifts, that I feel are my gifts. And I think especially for those of us who have felt like we don't necessarily have tangible talents. For example, when I was growing up, I really didn't have any tangible talents. I was not athletic. I was not musical. I wasn't, I enjoyed art, but I didn't pursue that. And so I wasn't, really that artsy kind of kid. And so, I really didn't have that kind of talent, and so I felt like I didn't really know what my talents were, or what my gifts were, or what and that has stuck with me into my adult life. And I feel like that's probably the case for a lot of people, that we get into our adult life and we don't know what our talents are, what our gifts are, what we're here to do, what our purpose is, what our what our mission should be, or any of that. We're all seeking that at some point in our life. We're all seeking, to better understand what we're here to do. And that's really where this exercise spurred from for me, was I knew that I'm at a place where I need to hone in on what my gifts are, and that'll help me to understand where I'm going, from here on out. And that was really important to me. So this is just, like I said, it was just kind of an intuitive exercise that I did today. And so as I kind of mind mapped, I let things flow, I let things come up. I questioned everything, if it was honest, or if it was something that I just wanted, or something that I'd always just said about myself and maybe it wasn't actually true, or whatever. And so I questioned everything, and I got to a pretty, I would say it's a pretty narrow list. I mean, it's not like the page isn't flooded with, all of my qualities. These are really just the gifts. They're not qualities, they're just gifts. And so when I was done with that, I started to kind of make connections between things. For example, some of my soul and spiritual gifts are with healing, just kind of the innate intuitive knowing on how to heal or how to induce healing or whatever it is. And so I connected that with actual physical, tangible talents and gifts, because I do study Reiki and other energy modalities, or energy healing modalities. So I connected those, and then I started to kind of see where things were popping out, and where things were repeating, and things were tying together, and things were weaving and kind of circling back around, and all of that. And for example, there was really through 3 categories. One of the things that kind of came up, or sort of like, I was seeing this trend or this connection, was that I have a real ability to see the gifts and the lessons and the beauty in things, in everything. And I'm one of those people who can see the silver lining, and who can understand the reasons for why bad things happen and all of that. And that was one that I saw come through in my life experience category, in my mind, intellectual, mental category, in my soul, spiritual category, and in my personality, heart, emotional feelings category, was how I do have that vision to see the beauty and the lessons and the gifts in everything, and especially in the hard stuff. And that's how I've come through a lot of the hard times that I have, was in using that gift of mine, and in those things where I don't feel like I understand or I can see, I have the ability to connect with spirit and to see it from that perspective or that angle, and receive it that way. And so I'm very connected, to spirit for that purpose. And so it all just ties together. And so that was one thing that really popped up at me, and it was like, yeah, I know this, because it's been a pattern over and over and over, and other people have pointed it out to me, other intuitives, and they've all said, this is your gift. Like, we already, they've already given me the information, but it just wasn't making sense to me until I mapped it out this way for myself. And so that would be kind of the first step in starting to look at your own gifts, is to start mapping it out. And like I said, I totally encourage mind mapping, which is just, where you have your thoughts as kind of bubbles or boxes on the page, and you connect them how you need to. But really, it's about just getting it all down and not having to organize it until you're ready to organize it, until you have it all out, and then you can start making the map, the connections. So anyway, so I did all that, and then when I saw that kind of come out, and I said to myself, okay, so what qualities or what gifts are really standing out to me as the ones that I know deep down to my core that this is me, that this is my gift, that these are my gifts. And so I started circling those, and my cat's up here on the table meowing. One of them was the word storyteller, and that is a theme and a pattern that has been with me my entire life, and has connections within my family and everything. The other one was another one was finding honor, gratitude, and gifts in traumas. Finding lessons in everything, seeing beauty and meaning everywhere, and that I'm very connected to spirit. And so when I looked at all that, I'm like, yeah, I can totally see how this all comes together. And so what I did was then I wrote just a one sentence that summed it all up. And so this is what I would encourage you to do too, is once you start to see the relationships, how those, kind of main gifts come together or can come together, it'll be like, oh yeah, of course. So this is what I went through a couple of drafts of this, and I reworded and edited, and because that's part of my storytelling, my wordsmith. And so so I went through a couple of drafts, but my final draft of my my gift, it goes like this. My gift is to be a storyteller for the lessons and gifts that I see in everything, even and especially heartache. And I love it. It's so perfect. It's so me. It's so everything that I've been doing for years and years. And I just feel so good about it. And like, you know, it's one thing to just know some of our qualities and our gifts, but to really piece them together and see how they come repeating throughout, you know, different areas of your life, and how those major ones really surface and keep showing up, and how they kind of fit together. That's really cool. That's where the magic is in this, that you can really see for yourself where your gifts are, and how they play out, and what they are, and what they look like, and what makes you so uniquely you. So I just wanted to share this exercise with you guys, and I want to encourage you to do it, because it really felt so good to me. It was so uplifting, and it was also like one of those, you know, those times when I really just needed to look at what is good about me and what I'm doing right in the world, because sometimes we can get a little bombarded with, you know, the petty stuff in life. And so it was just such a blessing to do this exercise today, and I want to invite you guys to do it as well. And I would love it if you do actually do this exercise. I would love to see your mind maps, or hear what your kind of final statement was about what your gift is in the world. Come on over into the Celebrate Your Path Facebook group and share that with us. You can share a picture of your mind map, or anything that you want to share about it. But I just wanted to help you guys and offer you this exercise that has been such a blessing to me, and just totally changed my whole day, probably my whole week, truth be told. So anyway, blessings to you all, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you guys are with me, and that you are, you know, so open and loving, and just willing to look at who you are, and where you're going, and where you want to go, and what you want to do, and all of the beautiful, blessed gifts that you bring to the world. I hope you have a beautiful day.